The Invasion and Frontline Armor 135, a panoramic sunrise over the Kuwaiti border. Thousands of armored vehicles hum, their exhaust blurring the horizon. The air is thick with the scent of diesel and the weight of history as we stand on the precipice of the largest armored thrust since World War II. In 60 seconds, the silence will be shattered by the roar of 60,000 tons of steel. The M1A1 Abrams leads the vanguard, its turbine engine screaming at 30,000 RPMs as it prepares to breach the berms. Close-up of an Abrams track churning through the sand. Dust clouds engulf the camera lens in a total brownout. Speed was the primary weapon during the initial invasion, a tactic known as shock and awe. But speed has a price, and the desert is a hungry beast that eats mechanical parts for breakfast. The M1A1's a GT1500 multi-fuel engine can run on anything from kerosene to perfume, but it drinks fuel at a rate of 2 gallons per mile. An M60A3 Patton firing its main gun. Shockwave ripples through a nearby puddle of oil. The Abrams stole the headlines. The old guard was busy proving its worth in the hands of the Marines. Called it a relic, a Cold War dinosaur that should have been in a museum, not a war zone. The Patton's 105mm M68 rifled gun lacked the range of the Abrams, but its reliability in the harsh Iraqi dust was legendary. A T-55 tank exploding in the distance. A Marine commander in an M60 watches through binoculars. The Marines of the 1st Tank Battalion didn't care about the age of their iron. They only cared about the results. In the first 48 hours, these obsolete tanks racked up a kill count that silenced every critic in Washington. Using thermal sights and sheer grit, the M60 crews engaged Iraqi armor at ranges thought impossible for 1960s technology. The M88A to Hercules recovery vehicle struggling to pull an Abrams out of a deep irrigation canal. War is messy, and even the king of the desert gets stuck in the mud of the ancient Tigris River. When a 70-ton monster falls, there is only one creature on Earth strong enough to drag it back from the brink. The Hercules is a 70-ton winching powerhouse, utilizing a constant pull main winch with 280 feet of heavy-duty wire rope. Night vision footage of Hercules crews working under a rain of green tracer fire. These aren't just mechanics. They are combat recovery specialists who operate while the world is exploding around them. Imagine trying to change a massive tank tread while snipers are zeroing in on your heartbeat. The M88A2 features an upgraded A-frame boom and increased engine power to handle the A2WAT, modern weight of the M1A2 SEP variants. The M1 Panther II mine-clearing tank rolling over a hidden explosive. A massive dust plume erupts under its roller. The road to Baghdad was paved with hidden death, but the Panther II was built to face it head-on. It has no turret, no main gun, and no fear. Its only job is to get punched in the face so the convoy survives. This variant replaces the turret with a remote control system and a 15-ton roller that triggers pressure-sensitive mines. An M2A3 Bradley firing its 25mm Bushmaster. The rhythm of the gun creates a strobe effect in the dark. The Bradley is the jackhammer, the primary fighting vehicle that bridges the gap between the tank and the infantry. It's a terrifying realization for the enemy. The vehicle carrying the soldiers is just as deadly as the tank protecting them. The M2A3's 25mm chain gun can fire 200 rounds per minute, capable of shredding light armor in fortified concrete bunkers. A Bradley launching a tow missile. The wire-guided projectile snakes through the air toward a distant bunker. Long-range lethality is the Bradley's specialty, allowing it to kill tanks before they even know they are being hunted. During the invasion, the Bradley proved so lethal, it actually outkilled the Abrams in tank-and-tank engagements. A tube-launched, optically tracked, wire-guided tow missile system can penetrate over 30 inches of steel armor. Interior of a Bradley. Infantrymen are crammed together, sweat dripping off their faces in the 120-degree heat. Inside, it's a sensory overload of heat, diesel fumes, and the vibrating roar of the engine. This is the steel coffin that keeps them alive. a cramped sanctuary in a world of flying shrapnel. Later models were fitted with busk kits, adding blast-resistant seats to protect the spine during underbelly IED explosions. An M3 Bradley cavalry scout vehicle hidden behind a sand dune, its optics mast raised high. The M3 is the ghost of the division, the eyes and ears that see the enemy before the battle even begins. While the M2 carries troops, the M3 carries extra missiles and sensors to map out the graveyard of the enemy. By removing the infantry seats, the M3 increases its tow missile capacity from 7 to 12 rounds. The M6 Linebacker, firing its 25mm gun at a sniper nest on a rooftop. Originally meant for the sky, the Linebacker found its true calling on the streets of urban Iraq. With no enemy jets to shoot down, the crews turned their Stinger missile tracking systems onto the buildings. The M6 replaced the TOW launcher with a 4-shot Stinger pod, providing a unique high-speed targeting solution for ground targets. An M113 Gavin with birdcage slat armor driving through a narrow market street. The M113 is a survivor from Vietnam, an aluminum box that simply refused to retire from the front lines. It's thin, it's loud, and it's old, but for many soldiers, it was the only thing between them and a sniper's bullet. The slat armor is designed to deform the copper cone of an RPG-7 warhead, preventing it from forming a lethal jet of molten metal. An M577 command post parked behind a wall, its tent extension deployed and filled with glowing computer screens. This is the digital brain, the mobile nerve center where commanders play a high-stakes game of chess with human lives. In the chaos of urban warfare, information is the only thing more valuable than ammunition. The M577's raised roof allows for an onboard generator and enough headspace to operate complex satellite communication arrays. The M1064 mortar carrier firing a 120mm shell. The vehicle rocks violently on its tracks from the recoil. When the infantry is pinned down in an alleyway, they don't call for a jet. They call for the mobile tube. Within 90 seconds of a radio call, high explosive rain begins to fall on the insurgents' heads. The M1064 allows the 120mm mortar to be fired directly from the hull via a massive circular roof hatch. An AAV-7 tuna boat splashing into the Euphrates River, its water jets kicking up a massive spray. The Marines took their amphibious assault vehicles and drove them across the bone-dry desert for hundreds of miles. It's an amphibious monster that feels entirely out of place in the dust, yet it became the backbone of the Marine advance. Despite its size, the AAV-7 is lightly armored with 40mm of aluminum, making it vulnerable to heavy machine guns and RPGs. An LAV-25 Wolf racing down an Iraqi highway at 60 miles per hour, its 8 wheels humming on the pavement. Speed is life for the light armored reconnaissance battalions, and the LAV-25 is the fastest predator in the pack. It can outrun almost anything on the battlefield, appearing out of nowhere to strike and vanish like a desert mirage. Powered by a Detroit diesel engine. The LAV-25 features a 2-man turret armed with the same 25mm gun as the Bradley. And Lavat, with its hammerhead turret raised, launching a TOW missile at a distant bunker. The anti-tank variant is the sniper of the LAV family, picking off hardened targets from miles away. It provides a heavyweight punch for a lightweight unit, ensuring the Wolves never get outgunned. The Emerson 901 turret allows the crew to reload missiles while remaining completely under the protection of the armor. A Stryker ICV moving through a foggy morning in Mosul, its rubber tires make almost no sound on the wet asphalt. The Stryker was designed for a new kind of war one, where stealth and speed are more important than heavy plating. They call it the Ghost, a vehicle that can move an entire platoon into an enemy stronghold without waking the neighbors. The M1126's central tire inflation system allows the driver to adjust tire pressure from the cab to traverse mud or sand. An M1128 Stryker Mobile Gun System MGS, firing its 105mm cannon into a reinforced concrete building. Sometimes you need to make a door where one doesn't exist. That's when the MGS steps up to the plate. It puts tank-sized firepower into a wheeled chassis that can fit through the tightest city streets. The 105mm gun is mounted in an unmanned turret with an auto-loader that cycles rounds at the push of a button. An M1127 Stryker RV using its thermal mass to peer over a high wall into an insurgent compound. Knowledge is power, and the reconnaissance vehicle is the ultimate gatherer of battlefield intelligence. It can see through walls and detect body heat from miles away, mapping out the enemy's every move in total darkness. Equipped with the Long-Range Advanced Scout Surveillance System, LRAS-3, it is the premier target acquisition platform. An M1129 Stryker mortar carrier firing in rapid succession. The crew is a blur of motion as they drop rounds. The Stryker Brigade brings its own personal artillery to the fight, ensuring they never have to wait for support. It's the difference between a 5-minute wait and a 30-second response when the bullets start flying. It carries a 120mm mortar that can be fired from the vehicle or dismounted to fire from the ground. Interior of an M1130 Stryker command vehicle. Glowing screens show a 2D map with moving blue and red icons. This is the digital heart of the brigade, where the fog of war is lifted by satellite uplinks and real-time data. Every soldier, every vehicle, and every threat is tracked on a screen like a deadly video game. The Blue Force Tracker BFT system revolutionized situational awareness, preventing friendly fire in the chaos of urban combat. An M1134 Stryker at TGM hunting a vehicle-borne IED vibed on a long desert road. In the later years of the war, the greatest threat wasn't an enemy tank, but a truck filled with explosives. The ATGM is the long-range shield, killing the threat before it can get close enough to do damage. It utilizes a twin-tube TOW launcher that can engage targets at ranges exceeding 3,750 meters. The M93 Fox Sniffer vehicle, moving slowly through a suspected chemical weapon site. During the invasion, the fear of WMDs was a constant shadow. The Fox was the only thing standing between the troops and a gas cloud. The crews lived in a constant state of high alert, sniffing the air for a silent killer that never came. The Fox features an onboard mass spectrometer and an airtight overpressure system to protect the crew from contaminants. An ASV-150 Guardian escorting a fuel convoy. Its sleek, angled hull looks futuristic compared to the trucks. Convoys were the lifeblood of the war, and the Guardian was the pit bull that protected them from IEDs and ambushes. It was built from the ground up to take a hit, with a V-shaped hull that laughs at landmines. Originally a military police vehicle, it features a turret armed with a 40mm grenade launcher and a .50 cal machine gun. An early war M998 Humvee with no doors driving through a dusty village. In 2003, the Humvee was a utility truck, never intended to be a frontline fighting vehicle. Soldiers were forced to adapt, welding scrap metal to their doors in a desperate attempt to survive the hillbilly armor era. The unarmored M998 was highly mobile but offered zero protection against even small arms, fire, or shrapnel. An M1151 up-armored Humvee, with thick ballistic glass and a shielded turret. The military eventually caught up, producing the M1151, a factory-armored beast that felt like a mini-tank. It was better, but the added weight of the armor put a massive strain on the engine and suspension. The up-armored versions featured reinforced steel plating and windows that could stop 7.62mm armor-piercing rounds. A Mad Max gun trucker, 5-ton cargo truck with steel plates and sandbags roaring down an IED-prone road. Logistics units didn't wait for the Pentagon to send armor. They built their own war machines from scrap and grit. These improvised monsters became the legends of the main supply routes, bristling with machine guns and attitude. These trucks often featured double-walled steel plating filled with sand to absorb the blast of roadside bombs. An Oshkosh MATV jumping over a sand dune at high speed. The MATV was the missing link, combining the blast protection of an MRAP with the off-road speed of a rally car. It was the answer to the Special Forces' prayers, a vehicle that could survive a bomb and then chase down the bomber. It features an independent suspension system and a V-shaped hull designed by Plazin to maximize crew survivability. A Navy SEAL DPV dune buggy racing through the dark desert using only infrared lights. For special operations, armor is a burden. You rely on the speed of stealth to accomplish the impossible. It's a frame, an engine, and 3 machine guns. Nothing more, nothing less. The Desert Patrol vehicle can reach 80 miles per hour and carry enough fuel for 200-mile deep reconnaissance missions. A Special Forces GMV Humvee, doors removed, bristling with antennas and multiple machine guns. The ground mobility vehicle is the ultimate operator's ride, customized for long-range patrols in hostile territory. It's a rolling arsenal, designed to put out so much firepower that the enemy doesn't have time to shoot back. The GMV features an increased payload capacity and specialized racks for carrying a T for anti-tank rockets. A Cougar HMRAP, surviving a massive blast. The smoke clears to show the vehicle still standing. The Cougar H was the vehicle that changed the math of the war, turning certain death into a bad day at the office. Thousands of soldiers are walking Earth today because they were sitting inside a V-shaped hull. The Cougar is designed to be modular, meaning if a wheel is blown off, it can be replaced in the field in hours. An International Max Pro rolling through a narrow Baghdad alley, its high roof nearly touching the power lines. The Max Pro was the big rig of the MRAP world, a towering symbol of American endurance in a world of IEDs. It was top-heavy and difficult to drive, but in a blast, there was no place a soldier would rather be. Built on a commercial truck chassis, the armored capsule is bolted on, allowing for easier repairs after an explosion. An RG-31 Nyala, navigating a tight city corner where a Max Pro would have been stuck. Smaller, faster, and more maneuverable, the Nyala was the preferred ride for paratroopers and route clearance teams. It's the sports car of the MRAP family, providing protection without sacrificing the ability to chase. Its all-steel monocoque hull is designed to protect the crew from 2 TM-57 landmines detonating simultaneously. Support, logistics, and the end of an era. 36 to 70, an RG-33L heavy ambulance speeding through a combat zone. Its red crosses prominently displayed on the armor. Even in the middle of a blast zone, the medics need a safe place to work. The RG-33L is a rolling emergency room, brings the hospital to the soldier, providing protection while lives are being saved in the back. The L variant is significantly longer, providing enough interior volume for advanced life support equipment. A BAE Cayman Mr. AP leading a long line of supply trucks through the desert heat. Based on a standard tactical truck chassis, the Cayman was the workhorse of the logistical convoys. It turned vulnerable supply lines into armored corridors, ensuring the beans and bullets always made it through. The Cayman utilizes composite armor that is lighter than steel, but offers superior protection against shrapnel. The Buffalo MPC, using its robotic arm to gently move a discarded pressure cooker on the side of the road. They call it the Claw. It's the most terrifyingly patient vehicle on the battlefield. One wrong move, and the road disappears in a fireball. The Buffalo operator is the only thing standing in the way. The 30-foot hydraulic arm is controlled by a joystick in the cab, equipped with a camera and sensory probes. A Husky VMMD leading a convoy, its ground-penetrating radar panels hovering just inches above the pavement. The Husky is the mine hunter, a solitary vehicle that walks the path of death so others don't have to. It's a lonely job. You are the first one in line, specifically looking for the thing that wants to kill you. The Husky is designed to break away in 3 sections during a blast, preserving the central pod where the driver sits. A Talon robot climbing a set of stairs inside a dark, suspicious building. Sometimes, the safest way to clear a room is to send a machine that doesn't have a family waiting back home. These little robots became the unsung heroes of the EOD teams, taking the hit for their human partners. The Talon can be equipped with a variety of sensors, including thermal cameras and chemical detectors. A packbot being thrown through a window by a soldier, landing and immediately deploying its camera. Small enough to fit in a backpack, the packbot is the ultimate peek-around-the corner tool for the modern grunt. It's the difference between walking into an ambush and seeing the ambush before it happens. Its flippers allow it to climb over rubble and stairs that would stop any other wheeled robot. And Mark bought a tiny toy-like camera on wheels, driving under a parked car at a checkpoint. Not every high-tech tool costs millions. The MarkBot was a simple, effective solution to a deadly problem. By checking for car bombs from 20 feet away, it saved countless lives at the gates of every base in Iraq. It's essentially a ruggedized RC car chassis with a tilt camera and a long-range transmitter. An M9 Ace armored earth mover bulldozing a massive sand berm while under machine gun fire. Combat engineers are the first ones in and the last ones out, and the M9 Ace is their heavy-duty shield. It's a bulldozer that thinks it's a tank, clearing the path for the heavy armor to flood into the city. The Ace features a unique suspension that can be locked for earth moving or unlocked for high-speed travel. A D9 are dozer-encased and slat armor pushing through a burning barricade in Fallujah. They call it the teddy bear, but there is nothing cuddly about this armored monster. When a street is blocked by rubble and fire, the D9R simply erases the obstacles, along with anything behind them. The armor package for the D9 adds 15 tons of weight, protecting the operator from everything up to RPG-7 South. An M60A VLB deploying its scissor bridge across a canal. The bridge unfolds like a giant's toy. In a land of rivers and canals, a bridge is the most valuable piece of real estate you can own. The AVLB can create a path where none exists in under 5 minutes, keeping the momentum of the invasion alive. The 60-foot bridge can support 60 tons, allowing Bradleys and lighter vehicles to cross safely. An M104 Wolverine deploying its heavy-duty bridge. The structure is massive and sleek. The Wolverine is the heavy metal successor to the AVLB, built to handle the staggering weight of the modern Abrams. It's the strongest bridge in the world that can be carried on the back of a tank chassis. It can span gaps of up to 24 meters and is rated for military load class 70 MLC, 70 traffic. An HMEE armored backhoe filling an IED crater on a highway while a security detail watches the perimeter. If you leave a hole in the road, the enemy will put a bomb in it. The HME is the gap filler that prevents that. It's the fastest backhoe on Earth, capable of hitting 60 miles per hour to keep up with the armored convoys. The cab is fully armored and features a run-flat tire system to ensure it can escape an ambush. An M728 CEV firing its stubby demolition gun. A massive concrete wall collapses into dust. Some obstacles don't need to be moved, they need to be destroyed. That's where the M728 Demolisher comes in. It fires a shell the size of a trash can, designed to turn bunkers into gravel in a single shot. The 165mm short-barreled gun fires a 64-pound high-explosive squash-head Hesh round. A battery of M109A6 Paladins firing in unison at night. The sky flashes like a lightning storm. The Paladin is the king of battle, providing fire support with pinpoint accuracy from 20 miles away. It's a digital sniper rifle that fires 100-pound shells, controlled by a computer that knows exactly where you are. The Paladin can receive fire missions via digital link, stop the vehicle, and fire the first round in under 30 seconds. An M270 MLRS Steel Rain launching a pod of rockets. The smoke trails create a grid pattern in the air. When you need to destroy an entire enemy division, you call for the Steel Rain. A single launcher can saturate a 1 kilometer square with submunitions, leaving nothing alive in its wake. The MLRS can fire 12 rockets in less than 60 seconds. Each rocket carrying 644 M77 dual-purpose submunitions. An M198 howitzer being towed by an MTVR truck through a narrow mountain pass. Not all artillery is self-propelled. The M198 is the towed reliable that goes where the heavy tracks cannot. It's a classic design that relies on the strength and speed of its crew to win the fight. The M198 is air transportable by CH-47 Chinook, making it the perfect choice for remote mountain fire bases. An Avenger Humvee searching the sky with its thermal optics, its missile pods ready to fire. The Avenger is the watcher, scanning the horizon for a threat that rarely appeared in the Iraqi sky, but its thermal eyes were too good to waste. The crews used them to hunt for insurgents in the dark. It carries 8 Stinger missiles and a .50 cal machine gun with a laser rangefinder for precision ground fire. A CRAM R2D2 unit firing its Gatling gun at an incoming mortar. A stream of tracer fire cuts the air. They call it the buzzsaw. It's the last line of defense for the Green Zone, shooting down rockets in midair. The sound is terrifying, a mechanical roar that means a threat has been neutralized before it could hit its target. The land-based Phalanx system fires 4,500 rounds per minute using 20 millimeters. High-SD self-destruct ammunition. An M1070 Het carrying a battle-damaged Abrams tank back to Kuwait. They call it the Elephant. It's the only way to move the heavy hitters over long distances without wearing out their tracks. Without the Het, the U.S. Army would have literally run out of gas halfway to Baghdad. The Het features an 8-axle trailer and a 700 horsepower engine designed specifically for the 70-ton Abrams. A HEMTT Dragon wagon, refilling a line of Humvees in the middle of a sandstorm. Logistics is the secret to winning wars, and the HEMTT is the dragon that keeps the fuel flowing. It's an 8-wheel drive monster that can go anywhere, ensuring no tank is ever left thirsty in the desert. The M977 variant features a large cargo bed and a heavy-duty crane for offloading ammunition pallets. A Marine MTV R17 truck bouncing through a dry wadi, its suspension working overtime. The Marines needed a truck that was as tough as they were. The MTVR is that truck. It can handle terrain that would flip a standard commercial truck, keeping the supply lines moving in the rough country. It features an independent suspension and a central tire inflation system, allowing it to walk through soft sand. A PLS self-loader truck dropping off a flat track of ammunition at a forward base. Speed at the supply point is life. The palletized load system PALS doesn't need a forklift, does the job itself. In and out in 60 seconds, reducing the time soldiers are exposed to mortar fire during resupply. The 10-wheeled giant can carry a 16.5-ton payload on its demountable flat track. A Marine LVs drag an articulated hauler snaking through a narrow village street. LVs is the bending beast, a 2-part vehicle that can navigate corners that would be impossible for any other truck. It's the ultimate heavy lifter for the Marine Expeditionary Force, carrying the weight of the war on its back. The articulation allows the front and back units to move independently, maximizing off-road mobility. An M915 line haul truck now, fitted with an armored cab driving down a long, lonely highway. The Roadrunners drove millions of miles on the deadliest roads on Earth, often with nothing but a thin layer of steel for protection. These drivers were the targets of every sniper and IED maker in the country, yet they never stopped driving. Later versions were fitted with the Armor Survivability Kit ASK, protecting the cab from shrapnel and small arms. A montage of various vehicles: Abrams, Bradley, Stryker, and MRA paid driving into the sunset. From the lightning speed of the invasion to the heavy protection of the occupation, these machines were our home. They are the Iron Titans that defined a decade of conflict and saved a generation of soldiers. Over 10,000 armored vehicles were deployed during the height of the conflict, representing the peak of 21st century mobility. A close-up of a soldier's handwritten message on the side of a dusty Humvee: "Mom, I'm coming home." Beyond the steel and the engines, these machines were the only thing that kept us connected to the world we left behind. For every soldier, the vehicle wasn't just hardware, it was a sanctuary. Crew morale was often tied directly to the reliability and uptime of their assigned vehicle. An M1A2 SCPV-2 patrolling a modern city street, its thermal sights scanning the windows. the war never truly ended. It just changed shape. And as the war changed, so did the iron. The lessons learned in the alleys of Baghdad are now written into the DNA of every tank in the world. The Sepsu Vita upgrade includes improved color displays and a remote-controlled weapon station for the commander. A group of Iraqi children waving at a passing striker convoy. We move through their world in giant loud monsters, trying to build something out of the dust. The Ghost was sometimes a symbol of hope, and sometimes a symbol of fear. Striker brigades were often used for hearts and minds missions due to their less intimidating appearance compared to tanks. A mechanic's greasy hands working on a Hercules engine under a dim flashlight. For every hour of combat, there were 10 hours of maintenance. The war was won in the motor pools as much as the streets. Without the grease and the sweat of the mechanics, the Iron Titans would have been nothing but paperweights. The operational readiness rate of the U.S. Armored Fleet remained above 90% throughout most of the war. An Abrams firing a smokescreen, completely vanishing from view in a cloud of white mist. Sometimes the best armor is simply not being seen. Smoke is the magician's trick of the armored world. One moment the tank is there, the next, it's a ghost in the fog. The smoke grenade launchers create a multispectral cloud that blocks both visual and infrared sensors. A Buffalo MPC arm lifting a hidden IED out of a hole in the road. Patience is the rarest virtue in war. The Buffalo crews had it in spades. They stared death in the face every day and didn't blink. The robotic arm is capable of lifting 3,000 pounds, allowing it to move even the largest IEDs safely. A column of MRAPs driving through a torrential rainstorm, mud caking their V-shaped hulls. The desert isn't always dry. When the rain comes, the heavy iron becomes a liability in the deep, sucking mud. Even the strongest machine can be defeated by a few inches of wet earth. The high ground pressure of heavy MRAPs made them prone to getting bogged down in unpaved areas. A soldier looking out of the ballistic glass of a Max Pro as the sun sets over the Euphrates. We saw the world through layers of glass and steel, a filtered reality of a country at war. It was a beautiful land, seen through the eyes of a beast. The armored glass of an MRAP is several inches thick, made of layered polycarbonate and tempered glass. A retired M60 Patton sitting in a museum, kids climbing on its hull. The old guard has finally found peace. Its glory days in the desert now just a story for the next generation. It earned its rest, from the Cold War to the hot sands of Iraq. Many retired M60s were eventually used as hard targets on firing ranges or donated to veteran memorials. A final wide shot of an empty Iraqi highway, the heat haze shimmering over the pavement. The tracks have faded, the dust has settled, but the legacy of the Iron Titans remains etched in the history of warfare. This was the era of the machine, the era of survival, and the era of the Werex. The U.S. withdrew its final heavy armored units in 2011. It's marking the end of a historic chapter in military history.